keep it a bean with you. I'm gonna keep it 100, 300, 500. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you right now. Your obsession with yourself and your art is ruining your self-esteem. And in order to become the best versions of ourselves that we want to be in 2024, we need to start with reframing the way that we view our art. Yes, our art is such an extension of ourselves, but isn't that precisely why we need to treat ourselves a little bit better? You know, I'm a firm believer that if I treat myself right, I treat my art right, and therefore people believe in my art because I believe in my art. You know what I mean? I am a zine maker, so I'm very involved in the zine community, but I also am really big on making art as well, so I'm also involved in the general art community. And if you're familiar with any of these scenes, then you know it's not uncommon to come across people in these spaces that are extremely talented, but also extremely
self-deprecating, incredibly negative, and just chronic complainers.
How do I know this? Well, I used to be one of those people.
That motherfucker guilty.
Just to give you a little bit of background and context on myself, I was lucky enough to be one of those people that knew what I wanted to be at a very young age. Anybody that knew me before today knows that Brie was going to be an artist. I love to draw, I love to write. That was just my thing from as early as I could remember. I was just really into arts and crafts. And now look at me, I run my own art shop and I do creative content for a living. However, the journey to this was not easy. I was not always this person posting content and making zines and sharing them with people and being very involved in these art spaces. I actually, and a lot of other people that know me know this too, I gave up art for 11 years of my life. I grew up in a very strict, low-income household, and because my parents were in survival mode, allowing me to do art was not a luxury that I was afforded. Although my family knew that I was really into art and that I was gifted in these areas, my family really pushed me to play sports because that could secure me a college scholarship, which would then allow me to go to college and study a career that would lead to a lucrative future. I don't fault them for this entirely, because to my parents, that was my way out. As the only child, or not the only child, why did I say that? Not the only, the oldest. As the oldest child in my family, and the first in my entire family to go to college, my parents, both former athletes, they knew that sports could take me places because they've seen it with their own eyes. They watched their peers and other people they know go pro, make money, and that's what they saw in my future. To my parents, this was probably the only way I could make money besides winning the lottery. That's just where their mindset was at, that's just of their times, and that's all that they knew. Their minds were not open to the possibility of me becoming a writer or an artist or anything creative for that matter. And why? Just because they hadn't seen it. They knew people that wanted to be rappers and actresses and DJs, and they went on to not make it. So that's kind of where their mindset was at. They didn't see a lot of their peers or anyone go into creative fields successfully have a long career with it or even any success with it at all. So while they knew that I was gifted in these areas, I was also a gifted athlete, and they saw more security in that, and honestly, so did I. So I ended up giving up art at a very young age. I was a teenager about that time, and I started putting all my energy into trying to gain a sports scholarship. I played tennis at the time. I played a lot of sports when I was in high school, but tennis was the one that I found the most enjoyable, and so I gave up art and started pouring all my energy in trying to gain a scholarship so I could go to college and be the first in my entire family to do that. 4 years, I put art on the back burner, but you guys, it never died. No matter how much I tried to kill it, it just wouldn't die. I'd be at tennis practice drawing doodles of my friends and showing them, and we laugh at it. I'd win random art contests that my school would host, and even with my busy schedule, like the type of student I was like honor roll, extracurriculars, playing sports. You know, I was one of those annoying people that just, you know, tried to make it out the mud. I tried to do this thing for my family and please everyone all at once that I was just so overloaded. I had the busiest schedule, but despite that, despite having my honors classes and my extracurriculars and my tennis practice, I always found time to do creative things. I always squeezed it in somehow. So I would do things like host and speak at poetry open mic nights. I would volunteer in the library. I actually had a TA period, you know, when you could be a teacher's assistant. I was the teacher's assistant for my librarian, who I became friends with, and I would just read books and I would submit all of my short stories and poetry that I would make to literary magazines. hosted by my school. I was even the web editor for my school's newspaper. Like, no matter what I tried to do to escape the writer and the artist inside of me, it just never went away. And after a long time of, I guess, trying to escape myself, I just started listening to that feeling. I started listening to my intuition about what I really wanted, which was to be an artist and a writer. So when I hit my mid-20s, I finished school, but I wanted to quit sports and pursue freelance art. My mom at this point just like, she threw in the towel about me trying to make it in the corporate world or trying to pursue sports. She already knew at that moment I was rebelling quite a lot against the status quo of my family, so she was very supportive of me in my art career. But my dad, on the other hand, really wasn't trying to hear it. He was like, no, you can't become an artist because you will fail. That's what he said. He said you would fail, or I would fail, and he said I would starve, and you know, he said I wouldn't be happy. And I remember we argued because I'm like, how do you know what makes me happy? I'm happy right now. But he's just like, you won't, because you won't be making any money and you're gonna starve. And then I fought and fought, and at one point, I think as a final way to try to prevent me from doing that, he even called my art mediocre. I still wanted to pursue art despite all of the doubt and all of the fighting and all of the disapproval from my family. So at the ripe age of 26, I began my journey. I opened up my own Etsy shop and I started selling my zines and other stuff online. And it took about 4 years of me grinding and doing that non-stop, day in, day out, all like literally my whole entire life was dedicated to trying to get my art off the ground and become a freelance artist. It took me 4 years to build the audience and the fan base that I have today. But I can't reiterate this enough. It wasn't easy, and it didn't start off butterflies and rainbows, and it still isn't butterflies and rainbows now. All of that context and all of that to say, the positive girl that you see on YouTube now wasn't always this positive. No, I was the worst when it came to sharing my art online. I mean, initially when I first started. Even though I had like this zest to become a freelance artist at the age of 26, I was insecure starting out because one, I thought I was too old. I was 26 trying to start my own art business. I had no role models. I had no blueprint. I did not know what to do. I didn't know where to start. I had no one to look up to, and it was really tough. And two, my dad's opinions haunted me. I love my dad to death and we have a great relationship now, but back then, when I said I wanted to pursue art, he said I wasn't good enough. And what am I supposed to do? Just forget he ever said that? No, like it was still in the back of my head, and I don't know. Remembering about him calling my art mediocre and that I would starve, that hurt. In the back of my head, I was thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe my art is mediocre. Maybe I will fail. Maybe this will all be for nothing and I'll have to go back to trying to, you know, get a lucrative career and all that stuff. Just, it sounds like a nightmare thinking about, and I fight that every day. You know, I had a lot of doubts starting out, so I projected that. I was very insecure and self-deprecating and a chronic complainer and just an all-around bad vibe. So instead of giving my art an honest try, instead of being authentic with it, like, hey, this is something that makes me happy and I'm gonna share it regardless of what people say and regardless of what people think, I entered the art community really insecure and unsure of myself and doubtful. And that definitely came across in the way that I presented my work. I was a walking contradiction because on one hand, I was passionate about my zines and my art and I wanted to show them to anyone that would look. But then on the other hand, I was afraid to be seen, and I was afraid to share my work because I was thinking of all the opinions I could hear that just shadowed the opinions of my dad, and I did not want to face that. But I had to learn that those are things I can't control. But what I can control is just sharing my art, doing what I do as an artist. Make art. So here I was at 26, becoming an artist all over again. I had spent the last 11 years of my life trying to be someone for everyone else that I lost sight of what it meant to be me. This person that I had fought tooth and nail to become, I lost her. So no, you may know me now as a person that shares my art and encourages other people to do that, but at that time, at 26, which was 4 years ago, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, doing math with Brie, 4 years ago, I did not embrace my art fully. I shared it, but I wrote captions like,
here's this piece of crap I made today.
Or I would post a video of my work, like doing a tour of my work or packing an order, and then I would complain about how ugly it turned out. And y'all, my Instagram bio right now says artist, and I'm very proud to call myself an artist, and I have no shame in calling myself an artist. But you know what my Instagram bio said when I was 26? It said mediocre artist. I was self-sabotaging myself before I could even get a chance. You know, I was like quitting the race before even crossing the finish line. So my whole first year of going on this freelance journey was me just messing it up for myself because I didn't want to give it an honest go. It wasn't until I started accidentally going viral at the age of 27, which is a story for another video, but once that happened and people started seeing my work and telling me that they liked it, it made me start self-reflecting. If other people are seeing the work that I'm doing and they like it and they're leaving me comments telling me so, why am I being so hard on myself? Why am I being so critical of myself when they aren't? And I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of mean comments too. I was seeing a lot more positivity than negativity. The only negativity I was seeing was coming from myself. Because of how I was raised, I harbored a lot of self-limiting beliefs. You know, because my parents didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, I learned that money was all that mattered. Because my parents didn't see the benefit of me being an artist initially, I didn't see the benefit of me being an artist either. I was so conditioned not only by my familiar environment around family and negative people in the world, you know, society also really conditions artists to hate being an artist. There's this whole like myth of the starving artist, and you know, that you can't make it as an artist. It's really hard to do, and that you have to fight all this competition and all this. These are just mindset things that you can shift easily if you want to. I realized that I was conditioned to beat myself down and be like everyone else, and in the process I ended up losing my spark. I lost my individuality, my passion to create, simply because I like creating. So of course, I just want to start off by saying this: we should always validate ourselves first and fill up our own cups. But it's no coincidence to me that I started to learn how to value myself by seeing myself through other people's eyes, by reading all the kind comments that people left for me, and people saying that they were inspired by my work, or even asking me about my process to help them be able to make their own work. That started shifting the way that I perceived myself, and I started unlearning all the baggage, all the projection, and all the doubt to start becoming a better version of myself. I had no idea that people would resonate with my work until I started putting it out there. I tried. And once I built that audience, I didn't want to let them down. While I always try to remain authentic to myself first, I do care about what the people say, or about people that support me say. And that doesn't mean I'm gonna change up everything I do to cater to them, but I still value them. And I owe a lot of my self-transformation to the kindness of others and people really seeing what I'm doing and telling me what they think about it. It's so important. So because I cared for the audience that I was building, and I cared for our relationship and our connection, I was inspired to become a better version of myself and do all the hard work of loving myself, basically. I wanted to inspire other people, and how could I do that if I was being so mean to myself? And like I said earlier, there were a lot of mean comments. I wake up and open my apps every day to mean comments. You know, I deal with a lot of mean comments about my art, but then also things that are not even related to my art. Harassed because of the way that my body looks, or people are making racist remarks because I'm, you know, a woman of color. You know, there's a lot of remarks that you'll have to deal with as an artist, but speaking from personal experience, those comments don't hurt as much now that I've transformed the way that I think about myself. So not to say it never affects me, that would be a lie. Of course, a lot of the comments may affect me, but I think that radical acceptance is super important as an artist and just as a person in general. But I don't know, maybe that's going off topic a little bit, but all I'm trying to say is that if someone leaves a mean comment or says something mean about my work, or something that I just generally don't like, is that going to stop me from making my work? No. And that's why I created this video today. I hope it inspires you to think highly of yourself, because when you do that, you'll inevitably think highly of your art and you'll be able to share it no matter what. If you want to become unrecognizable in 2024, it all starts with one simple thing, and that is having a positive mindset. I know it seems like such cliche, corny advice, but this is coming from someone who started her dreams later in life and now has been a full-time artist for 4 years. So I just want to share, you know, my whole journey, my process with you. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not for everyone. But if you feel called to this lifestyle, if you feel called to being a full-time artist, I just want to say, if I can do it, you can do it too. Oh, I'm cringing because I know it sounds cliche, but I really believe that. So now you may be wondering, how do I implement a positive mindset? Well, it's going to take some discipline to be able to do this, especially if you want to do this daily in 2024, but that's why I'm making this video now, so you can start early in December to prepare you for 2024. These are very small little things that I did to help me glow up. Also, I just want to say that this is just my advice. You know, this is just me sharing what helps me. I know it won't be a one size fits all. I'm no professional, I'm no doctor, but I am your friend. And as your friend, I want to enlighten you to the things that maybe you don't see. So I'm going to suggest some things that can assist you in your creative journey because they help me in my creative journey. Here we are at the 3 steps that you can take to become more positive in 2024 that will help you become unrecognizable. So step number 1 is to stop calling your art bad. Stop calling yourself a bad artist, mediocre artist. Just stop with the self-deprecation, okay? It literally does nothing for your self-esteem and it helps no one. It doesn't even help you. All it does is make this pattern in your mind of that negative state to the fact that you believe it and think that you can't change it. And how you view yourself is how others are going to view you. So why would you even put that out there that you're a bad artist so everybody can agree with you? You know, I'm not saying to fake confidence, fake it till you make it kind of thing. To each his own if that works for you. But all I'm saying is at least stop being mean to yourself. Like, let's start there. It is your job to take care of you. And it's not okay to be hard and mean and overcritical on yourself just because no one can see you doing it. Your thoughts become reality. So you need to start today. I don't know when you're going to see this video. I'm hoping that you see it in December 2023. But you know what? I take that back. Anytime you see this will be good to start implementing this change. If you want to have a better positive mindset, you have to be better and more positive to yourself. You don't have to share your art with a caption saying,
I am a god, so suck my dick, Picasso.
But just share it and allow it to be seen. If you want to share something online, you want to post your zine or post your art or whatever, post it. And if you want to add context to it, just state the facts, okay? So for example, if you're having a hard time of posting stuff without being self-deprecating, post the thing with no caption, or you post the thing stating the facts, like the context of why you made the piece, or you could just simply post, say it's a zine, right? Post a zine and say, here's a zine I made about blah blah blah. You don't have to assign meaning to it, just allow it to be seen by others and let other people assign meaning to it. Let other people have an honest, authentic, genuine reaction to your work without you trying to block it by being self-deprecating. Not everyone is gonna like what you put out. And I think that's like the greatest skill you can gain by being an artist is just radical acceptance. You might get mean comments, but like I said earlier, you can't control that. And that's just life, honestly. Everybody has the right to say what they want to say. Sometimes they say things that are fucked up. It just happens, but you can't prevent that, right? What you can control is your art and how you share it and when you share it. So take some control over that, take some autonomy over your art process and your work in general, and let it be seen. Let it be criticized. Let people critique it. So that's the biggest challenge. That's something that has helped me so much. I don't say self-deprecating things about my work. That's not to say that I'm not doubtful or sometimes insecure, but I'm never gonna just shit on my work before other people have a chance to form their own opinion about it. Who does that serve? It's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. What I've learned in the past 4 years of getting back into my art full time is that when I believe in myself, other people do too. So believe in your work, believe in your art, and stop shitting all over it because you're trying to beat other people to the punch. You know, when you're being self-deprecating, that's all that you're doing is you're projecting, right? You're insecure, you're doubtful, and you're projecting that insecurity and that doubtfulness to protect yourself from criticism. Let it happen. It'll make you tougher, and the more that you face that head on, the easier it'll be able to navigate later on. Trust me, this is from someone that's been doing it for a while, and I've learned. I hear crazy things about my stuff all the time, like all the time, but don't fight it, you know, don't resist it. Allow it to happen. Feel it. I know this is this is not the easiest thing in the world to, I'm just sharing what I think helps, and I think that you should share your work without calling it bad. Have some pride in your work. Like, come on, stand up. Like, have some faith in yourself. Jeez. I also believe that in order to make better art, that you have to face criticism, you know? Like, there's so many times where I faced criticism and I didn't agree, but there's other times where I faced criticism and I was like, hey, they actually have a point. And that's if it's constructive. Mean comments are gonna come and go, and you have to be able to discern what's just a messed up comment that someone's leaving to troll and what is actually criticism, you know, constructive criticism. You'll be able to discern that over time, but you won't be able to do that and actually allow those criticisms to allow your art to grow unless you allow it to happen. So put your art out there without you being the judge of it first, you know? Just do it because you like doing it. Make art because you like to make art, and share it because you're proud of your work. When you're proud of it, other people will be proud of it too. So just stop being a little scaredy ass bitch. And the second way to maintain a positive mindset is to start journaling. Maybe you already do it, maybe you don't, but I find that journaling helps to get all the muck out of my brain onto paper, so that way it's not in my head anymore, right? I know that sitting down to write may be a hard thing to implement into your daily life, so that's why I really encourage you to start now in December and just do it for a couple of times this month. You know, it doesn't have to be every single day right now. Just start by doing it like once a week for the rest of the year. Journaling really helps me relieve stress and anxiety, especially if I journal first thing in the morning after waking up, because I feel like I'm able to write down all my thoughts, whether they're negative or positive, and this helps me sort myself before going about my day. After writing down everything, I'm able to approach the day, my work, my tasks with a clear mind and with good intentions, which helps me be less critical and just do what needs to be done. I also love journaling because I can look back on all my progress of how I've talked to myself. My journals from when I was 26 to me now at 30 are like night and day. They're so different. Back then, I was so hard on myself. I was really lost and just not hopeful about my future. I would complain about everything and made excuses to why my life was where it was. But when I read my journals now, I see so much growth. I see so much optimism, so much gratitude. Now I journal about how I can solve my problems instead of ruminating in them. I talk about what my goals for the future are. I write about what I want to manifest into my life rather than what I lack. Whether you write in a notebook like I do by hand, or you write on a Word document on your computer or whatever, just try it out and see how you feel, because after I've done this and implemented this into my daily life, or I would say weekly, I journal about every other day. So I don't even do it every day, but I feel that it really helps me lighten up and relax, especially if I find myself thinking about the same thing over and over. That's when I start journaling. Writing it down helps me to alleviate that thing. That's just something that I think works for me, and I'm able to get all that shit out and start my day with better intentions. And the final and third thing to help you maintain a positive mindset and become unrecognizable in 2024 is to start making lists of what you need to do and checking them off. There is just something so satisfying about completing something, and it's even better when you make a list and you're able to mark that thing off as being done. Please don't beat yourself up if you don't mark everything off on your list, please. I don't even mark everything off on my list, but I'm just saying that the act of making the list itself helps me organize my day better, and it does feel really good when I'm able to mark some things off. And if I don't finish everything on my list, I just move it to the next day or some other day during the week, and that motivates me because in my head I know, okay, I have this thing to look forward to that I have to make sure that I accomplish. And by marking them off, I think it really helps motivate me, and it gives me confidence that I can accomplish the things that I set out to do, even if they're small, and they should be small. You know, my days are filled with little things that I put on these lists. You know, it's not like these big goals that I have to meet. They're small. So I fold zines throughout my day, or this is just an example of what my list may have. So fold zines, go to Target, do my laundry, clean my room, go get gas, make myself meals, read a book. I'm able to accomplish all of those things because I wrote a list. I know those sound like very basic things that I should remember to do, but as a neurodivergent, scatterbrained person, making the list really helps me. I used to aimlessly wake up each day and I was like, okay, maybe I'll work a little bit on my shop, maybe I'll make some content, maybe I'll fulfill some orders, I don't know. And because I was so loose with my day like that and there was no routine to it, there was no set goals, I became so overwhelmed with the possibility of what I could do that I ended up doing nothing. And I don't want this to be you in 2024. It's such an easy fix. It's so simple. It took my life from like here to here by just simply making a list and creating a routine for myself each day. And remember, these goals are small. These are just daily tasks of things that I want to accomplish in a day. They're not like New Year resolutions where to give up alcohol or I'm start going to the gym every day. These are small things, like as simple as wake up, meditate, drink water, work, skincare routine before bed, read a little bit more, exercise a little bit or stretch, go to bed. I forgot all my meals in there, but you know, I'm just trying to give you like a loose example of what it could be. Those are very simple things. These are things that I do every single day. I just put them down on a list, so I make sure I check them off, and it makes me feel really, really good about myself. Trust me, I know that those all seem like random habits to implement into your daily life that have nothing to do with art, but I'm telling you, as an artist myself, that these things have helped me become a better person in general. It helped me become a better person first, which inevitably helps me become a better artist. This might be hippy dippy advice. This might be something where you're like, Brie, what are you even saying? I was just very inspired to make this video. I felt compelled to, so that's what I did. I'm gonna listen to that voice and just do it. And I know with confidence that this is gonna help someone. I hope it helps a lot of people, but I know I'm speaking to someone that can relate to this. I know I'm speaking to someone that has the same background as me, the struggle that I had, giving up art, having people doubt you, having people think that you can't do shit with your dreams, you know, telling you who you're gonna be. I know I'm speaking to someone when I share my story and when I share what helps me. I think that being able to share what helped me become a better person, and this is an everyday thing. This is something that I work on every single day. So I'm talking to you as your peer, as your mutual, as your friend. You know, these things help me become a better artist, and not in the technical sense, but in the heart sense. When I feel good about myself, I feel good about my art, and I think people really resonate with that. You know, how many times have you supported someone that makes weird art or whatever because, you know, not because it's gallery worthy, but because that person was passionate about making it? You know, people love people who are passionate about things because I think it helps them remember that there's that passion inside of them too. And I think we should all work on helping elevate each other to reach that inner child. Oh, I'm sounding so like a hippie, but that's what I feel like this video is for. I want you all to become unrecognizable in 2024 in the best possible way. If you have bad habits, I want to help you break them now because they'll help you become a better artist, and like I keep saying, a better person in general. I want us all to reclaim our spark, our love for life, our curiosity. You know, I want us to gain belief in our art and our abilities. I want us to reclaim that because it's there, and you have every right to be here sharing your work, making, you know, zines and taking up space as anybody else. And I don't want you to let the opinions and doubts and projections of others get into your head. I'm telling you right now as your friend that you deserve to take up this space, and you have every right to be sharing your work as anybody else. Our jobs as artists is to uplift ourselves so we can help uplift others, you know? In this way, everybody wins. Everybody's an artist. Here I go. I hear myself speaking. I'm like, okay, anyway, I hope sharing my story with you will help you in your creative journey. I hope it'll give you some inspiration, and I hope it'll help you make the art and zine of your dreams. Please leave a comment about your New Year's resolutions, or if you have any tips about how to maintain a positive mindset, please leave a comment down below, because I only shared 3 of my top ones. You guys always say the most cleverest, smartest things. I love reading your comments every video. Like, you guys give the best advice. If I'm moved by the comments and I love the comments, I know other people coming across the comments like the comments. So that's all for now. Until next time, bye.